was 20,000 people, supposedly. I know, on various continents. They were looking for just that right fit. And for me, I remember watching Terminator 2 and was so captivated by Robert Patrick's performance of the T-1000 and how you could not see any signs of human traits whatsoever. He was a robot. So flash forward by 10 years, I had already started acting for almost a decade, and this audition came by, and I said, this is the role for me. I've always been tall, had a deeper voice, athletic. I'd already done action in Mortal Kombat. So, with this dance background and being able to really absorb the choreography, I just thought, and having the physical awareness and I think presence of what it would take to create the TX. So I went on a journey of about 8 auditions. They were very physical with Jonathan Mostow, a lot of running, jumping, falling, getting up, looking, etc. And in the end, I guess he liked what he saw, and that was it.
And Kristanna, those opening scenes are iconic, dare I say. They bring about the sort of sequences of maybe the bear in terms of creation of life, dare I say, and how we're all vulnerable at the start of the life, even our sort of the Terminator arriving on Earth. And I suppose those scenes, you're at your most vulnerable, you're at your most sort of revealing, dare I say, but you're all, but there's a deadly essence, dare I say, to it as well. Were those sort of hard to convey, those sort of emotions, those sort of sequences to almost sort of show that fragility of the sort of Terminator, show that sort of seductive beautiness as well, but also that killer vibe. I imagine those sequences took an awful lot of time to shoot at all the right angles. And were you any bit worried about him?
Yeah, it's a really fair point. I think with my creation of TX, I really wanted to pepper into the performance those human moments, even though she's a killing machine sent from the future. As an audience member, you have to be able to relate to her in some small way in order to want to root for her, even if it's subconscious, even if you don't realize that you're doing it. You have to be drawn to her. And I felt the best inroad there was through some of those human moments, like you said in your point of, a slight vulnerability here or there, or human moments in relating to the cop, or in tasting of the blood, or in glancing in the mirror in the bathroom sequence. There are these some small moments that can be noted as human traits. So that to me was very important in the overall performance.
Yeah, and Kristanna, you had to show that off as well, that you were more to captivate the movie viewer going, that you were more, dare I say, more jaunting, more sort of dangerous than Arnold Schwarzenegger. You had to always match up to him, mano to mano, bulk to bulk. And as an actress, obviously, when you see the size of Arnold, and obviously we're going back 20 years now, so Arnold was in a lot really really good shape 20 years ago, dare I say. Was that sort of hard to sort of portray those projections, or had you this vision in your head that because you carried it off perfection on screen, that you were able to show that you had this intimidating demeanor that even made him sort of question himself?
Well, thank you. Yeah, there was a lot of speculation of like, who is this young woman that's going to be pitted against male iconic figure of cinema history? And that I would have to say was belief in myself, and also the extensive amount of training that I did up to that point. I was in the best shape of my life. I had a fitness trainer. I got my body fat down to that of an Olympic athlete. I did weapons training with the Los Angeles Police Department. I had a nutritionist. I did Krav Maga, which is Israeli martial arts. And then I worked with a mime coach, which was Jonathan Mostow's idea, the director, to really eliminate those human traits like blinking while firing a weapon or showing exertion while running, things of that nature. So it was an extensive amount of prep work that I also did to get to that point. And I think it was just that the layering of that and the belief that I could do it.
Yeah, and Kristanna, before we come on to your projects that you want to publicize and tell all our audience about, one sort of final question. I suppose nowadays, if you were performing that role or going for that sort of lead sort of role in terms of, you would have an awful lot of the technology advancements of green screen to help you out in terms of maybe, obviously you'd have to visualize it, but green screen would do the rest. But back in 2003, this was all things in their infancy. This was all things. So it was, dare I say, the actor or the sort of the stunt double in the case that brought all those what we see in terms of to life on our screens. They did it, dare I say, in pulp. And does that make you feel more proud as punch that you created a movie like that back in 2003 with maybe without all those technology advancements that most actors, if they were doing it today, would have in terms of green screen and all that?
Well, it's an interesting way of putting it. I mean, yes, we did shoot a lot of it practically. There was a fair amount of CG as well. Of course, as you mentioned, it was in a different stage then as it is now. But we did also go to, or I went to George Lucas's. It's ILM in San Francisco, and that is where they shot me in 360-degree cameras. So at the end of the film, when my character is getting what we believe could be smushed, that you see the animatronics that are laid over top of my face. So we did all the facial recognition, and we did do some of the body movements, that very primal kind of aspect as well. As you said, it was in a different stage then. And we worked with Harry Winston Studio, and they made the practical arm prosthetic for the plasma cannon. So sometimes I was wearing the prosthetic, and sometimes it would be CGI, depending what the shot needed. So yes, in the end, I do think it would be a different process now to shoot the film, of course, than it was then. I actually hadn't thought of it in that perspective before.
Yeah, and Kristanna, it's a busy time for you, I believe. An awful lot of going on, an awful lot going on in the life of Kristanna Loken. You might enlighten our audience and our listeners. I know you've one or two exciting projects that you want to tell us all about.
Sure, yes. So I'm very excited about my new film, Vice and Virtue, which I produced and I'm also in. And in the process now of distributing, we're doing something exciting. We're doing a worldwide virtual premiere and Q&A with me. You can find tickets on any of my social media platforms, Instagram, KS Loken, my official Facebook page, or of course, on X at Loken Kristanna. And this film is very near and dear to my heart because I got to work in some of the backstory that happened in the early stages of life with my son Thor. Now, I'm not going to tell you too much because you're going to have to see the film to find out. Now, the story in the film is an adaptation of what actually happened to me, but it was a very difficult, painful time. He underwent various surgeries in the beginning stages of his life. So the process of doing this film has been very cathartic for me to process some of that challenging time in the beginning. So Vice and Virtue, it's two celestial beings that take human form. They come down to planet Earth and they invoke this judgment day on about half a dozen people that find themselves in an undisclosed location. So over the course of this one evening, secrets unravel and we find out why these people are there and how certain choices have brought them to one place and other choices take them down a different path. So I was inspired by the weight of choices that we make in our life. All day, we are choosing something from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to sleep. And all of those choices culminate into you and I, Jim, sitting right here
Mm.
now doing this interview. So hopefully, people will come away from watching this film inspired to look a little bit more closely as to what they are choosing in their life and why.